Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
Hello and Happy New Year. Luke Taylor here. Sam is I shouldn't say no longer with us. He's still here. He's just not on this episode of the Full Court Press, the college basketball coaches show powered by the Full Court Network. As you can see, Luke Taylor here. I got a great guest. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review where you can. We always love the ball. We love talking basketball, and this guy's doing big things in year 3 of the Eagles, Georgia Southern. We got Coach Charlie Henry. Welcome to the Full Court Press, Coach.
Thanks for having me, Luke.
Yep. Thanks for being here. Great year, 9-game winning streak. What the hell are you doing down there in Statesboro?
Man, if you'd have watched us, it was off a 4-game losing streak. So if you watch the last 9, you think we probably got a decent idea of what we're doing. But if you watch us the 4 games prior, you probably think we don't know what we're doing. But it's the way basketball is, man. Things just are a good group, really good group of guys. Lucky to coach them, and things are clicking for us a little bit.
Yeah, obviously they are. How you're seeing a lot with your colleagues, like, with the expectation, especially of the current college basketball landscape, like you got to win first minute, first second, first day of the job. How important is year 3 though, building something? I know, players change every year now more so than ever, but how key is, like, we see a jump from year 1 to year 2, but where we really see it is year 3. Like, why? I guess, why are you seeing such a significant jump? Is it something you guys are doing differently? Is it just you figured it out? I mean, what is it?
It's a great question. I mean, I'm a coach, so I wanted to win in year 1.
Well, right.
I got my teeth kicked in. It wasn't fun at all. But shoot, man, a lot of different reasons for it. I'll be honest. It was my first experience in mid-major basketball. So, I had to learn a lot of things, scheduling, just go on right down the line. We improved a ton that year. We lost our first 12 games. My non-con was miserable.
You're like, what am I doing?
My wife felt so bad. We ended up having a surprise baby over Christmas break. So I guess some good came out of it, but
there you go.
We ended the year in conference 8-10 when won a game at the conference tournament. So we got a lot better in year 1, but I had to learn a lot of things. And then, obviously in year 2, we're much improved. And with even chance to be better, obviously I had our best player out for like 8 games, but, and then in year 3, I'll be honest, my year 3 is almost like a year 1. I mean, I brought back Tyron Moore from year 1. He transferred to UAB and came back. I brought back Nicavian White, from last year's team. And then we had a guy that joined us at the semester and sat out. So only 3 guys had played for me. So it was a lot of new guys, but I did take a lot of lessons, that I had learned. And your staff, I just have a great staff. I think they've kind of figured me out. I figured them out, and we're working together really well. But we were really mindful, albeit, and you can't get them all right, but obviously we hit on some guys that were good players, maybe even better than we expected. But we got great dudes. They really love playing together, and that's really the most important thing.
Yep. 9-game winning streak. You've got. You lost to Georgia Tech by 2. You beat Louisiana Tech. We're big fans of Coach Hester. You play. Then you just beat Old Dominion on Wednesday, the Monarchs. I mean, you've got a really big test on this upcoming Saturday against the Jaguars. Richie Riley, we've had him on the show. You're 12-5, 4-0, 9-game winning streak. I mean, obviously, you're doing something right. But let's go back to something you just said. What was the biggest difference for you from coming from a Power 5 level down to a mid-major? You're a coach with Nate Oats, who you've known for years. You coach with him at Romulus High School. What was the biggest, I guess, adjustment for you to make that first year?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'll give
You
shout
hear
out.
that, Sam? You hear that, Sam? I got 2 great questions, Sam. You listening? He
Uh,
doesn't give me any credit.
Nate's my guy. He's one of my best friends. Like you said, I actually was my first job was a high school assistant for him. Fred, I wouldn't be here without Fred Hoiberg, and both those guys are having unbelievable years. So, big thing for me, it's really more like being a G League head coach. I was a G League head coach for 2 years in Chicago.
City Bulls. Yep.
But I'll be honest, man. Like just, I think scheduling's a big deal. The challenges of travel at our level, like just being mindful of everything. I'd say it's not necessarily the basketball. Obviously, I learned a ton of basketball from Nate and Fred, so it wasn't necessarily basketball, even though, like Richie, who we're getting ready for, he's an unbelievable coach. He does a great job. So there's some learning curves on the basketball end too, obviously preparing for, new styles and new coaches. But I'd say, man, just everything. And then, me getting the job right as I'd say NIL, like the NIL boom. You know what I mean? It's just all that stuff, travel, NIL, rev share, just all that, getting a handle on it, as much as anything.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, I mean, you got a kid who came from Emmanuel, Division II, one of the top scorers, and Spud Webb with 2 Ds, I might add. Did you know he was going to be this good so soon? I mean, this. There was always a knock against D2. They're not as tall. They're not as fast. They can shoot, but they're not athletic. Don't have the high Q. I mean, I've been around Division II. There's some great athletes in Division II, man. Just great athletes. Did you expect to be this good this soon?
I'd say when we recruited him, no. But after summer, you spend time around guys, and you coach them. We're coached them for 7 weeks in the summer. We went 7 weeks. And after summer, you had them for 7 weeks. You did think, okay, you know the ones you hit on, and I'll be honest, we have another Division II guard that, he tore his ACL in the summer, Dallas Gardner, but we felt like those 2 guys, we knew after summer that we had hit on both of them. Now, did you know he'd be doing this? No. But he's got some special qualities. I've described him as like a throwback competitor, and that's what he is. He wants to win every drill in practice. He's an energy giving behaviors. He brings them every day and elevates the group. So, in the recruiting process, no, we hoped he'd be good. We thought he could do some things for us, but he's far exceeded that.
Yeah. Is he as good, as athletic as the original Spud Webb?
No. If he was that athletic at his size and length, we probably wouldn't have him. But he gets it. He gets it done. He gets it done with really just kind of crafting his veteran know-how. So no, he wasn't. He ain't winning any dunk contests.
Yeah. One of the questions I want to ask you is the expectation of the current roster. Okay. There's a high probability some of these kids won't come back. I mean, you even said it yourself. You had a handful return, which is huge. Obviously, it puts you a step forward. You're able to bring the culture, continue it. But like, what's the expectations among you and your staff? Is it like, hey, I've got this kid for 6 to 9 months. I just got to give him the best opportunity, and hopefully he comes back. I mean, how are you kind of gearing yourself year to year? Because it is year to year. Let's be honest. It's not you don't have 3 to 5 years when you sign that contract, maybe at the mid-major level, but you look at the power level and it's all the same to me. Basketball is basketball, ball's ball. You're looking at like Kentucky, for instance, okay? Mark Pope. Supposedly they're spending $22 million. They've had some struggles. What people don't understand, 3 of their best players, and you might know one of them personally is Mohamed Diambati, is he was hurt. Jaden Quinn was hurt. Another kid was hurt. Like, you can't look at that. But is there this expectation, like, you got to win like right away now amongst your like coaching community?
I think so. We're asking for investment in our program and our athletic departments. So we ask our fans for a lot, man. They shell out tickets and spend time coming to games, and then we ask them to support athletic departments. So anytime you have that level of investment, it's going to come with certain things, expectations and whatnot. So I think there is just it's all what we signed up for, man. If I didn't
Yeah.
like it, I'd go try to do something else, but I got no interest in doing that. So,
Yeah. Not this week, at least.
yeah, not this week, but I mean, unless I was like a good enough golfer to go, make some money, but that ain't in my cards, so I might as well keep coaching. But it's just part of it. I don't think you can't look at things like the old days, recruit a really good high school class, and years 3 and 4, like, nah, those are over. You got to try to build the best team you can each and every year. I already mentioned the G League deal, but in the G League, you didn't have a whole lot of returners, and you'd get like 2 weeks. You'd start training camp, and you'd have like 4 days of practice, and you'd do an exhibition scrimmage versus somebody, and then you have about another 3 days, and then you'd start the season. So we get 7 weeks in the summer. We had 8 weeks in the fall, and then we start official practice. So plenty of time to get ready. Shoot, sometimes you go back in the year in the summer and you watch your games from the earlier in the year, and you're like, man, we were playing really well at the beginning of the year. What happened?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
maybe you should have some scrimmages and some games that count in the summer now. Maybe there'll be a summer league.
We need that. That would be great.
Yeah. Would you like that? What's one rule, both on and off the court, you'd like to be changed? Like, is there one rule?
You're asking the wrong person, because I have a lot of thoughts.
Just give me one. I don't need 46.
I think my first one off the top of my head we should play with the uniform ball. Everybody in the NCAA should play with the same ball. That would seem like a pretty quick one to start. I mean, having our managers, track down an Under Armour ball if we're going to play an Under Armour school, or you know what I mean. Let's just all play with the same ball. Let's start there.
I coach 6th and 4th grade boys CYO basketball. You want to talk about balls? They had one a couple weeks ago. We had to switch it because it was like it bounced and it bounced this way and it went straight down. And then, I don't know if it was the court or whatever. So that's fair enough. That's true, because you think about the NBA. Well, the NBA is probably very universal, but like back in the day, you used Wilson or Rawlings NCAA basketball, and that was it. But that's interesting. So you coach for two of the hottest and top college coaches in the nation, especially right now in Fred Hoiberg, the mayor. I simply call him as the senator now that he's at Nebraska, and then Nate Oats, which I haven't come up with. Actually, last time I saw Nate Oats was in a bathroom at the Final Four. We had a nice chat. He's a very I've had neither of them on the show, but that seemed like both nice guys, but here nor there. But what was the one thing you took away from each coach that you're kind of using on a daily basis?
Yeah. Well, with Fred, Fred had Fred was a heck of a player. Was an All-American at Iowa State.
I saw him at Iowa State. I actually saw him play Kansas. Man, he was a ball player.
Yeah. He was a heck of a player, obviously, to play 10 years in the NBA, and would have played longer if it wasn't for his heart surgery. And Fred would tell you that if you asked him, he would have played much longer. But because he had played for such a long time and then had different roles, he was like a second-round pick in Indiana, had to work his way, in the NBA, work his way to being a rotation guy, and then obviously playing really well in Minnesota. He was really mindful of what the player goes through and our messaging to players. He was really, really mindful of how we deliver stuff to the player, because he was really empathetic of what they go through, and having in value in each and every person on your team. The bench guys, really mindful of the struggle that goes with that, So I would say I definitely took that from Fred. And then with Nate, Nate just has a competitive drive that's really just next level. He wants to win, man, win in the worst way. I mean, he's a really good pool player, and when I got there, I was bad in pool, and he just wants to compete at everything. So his I have a picture in my office of Herb Jones making a right-hand free throw when he had a cast on his left arm. And I think what Nate taught everybody, at every stop he's been, and, especially, obviously being with him at Alabama, is just find a way, just doing whatever it takes, just a no excuse mentality to find a way to win.
Yeah, yeah. Next time, do me a favor. Next time you talk to Coach Oates, see if he remembers a good-looking chap, probably pink shoes from the Final Four, talking to him about the current landscape of college basketball. He's very nice about it.
Who was the good-looking chap again? Who
Yeah,
was that?
thank you. Me. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Thank you. Hence why he's never come on the show. So we'll see why. But okay, so I want to ask you, I want to have a little versus between Fred Hoiberg and Nate Oates. Okay. Who do you think would win in each category? Okay. I don't know this. Some I don't know, but between Fred Hoiberg and Nate Oates, who would you say had the highest GPA in college?
Oh man. Honestly, that's a tough one because Fred was a academic All-American, and I know Nate's it's like a 4.0, all the way through. So that's a really tough one.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm gonna go Nate because I think he was a 4.0, but Fred was an academic All-American. So that's a tough one.
Okay. Who would win between the two of them in a chess match?
I don't think either of them played chess.
Okay. That's a safe answer. You
Yeah.
just don't want to pick one. All right. Who would win in a 40-yard dash if we had it right now?
Right now. Oh man. I thought you were gonna ask me an easy one, like who's a better golfer. But
Says that's not one of them.
All right. 40-yard dash. Let's give it to you know what? We're gonna there was a time where it would have been an easy answer. It would have been Fred.
Yeah, heart
sure.
condition now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We'll go Nate, but 20 years ago my answer would have been much different.
Yeah. Okay. Who is the better golfer between the two of them?
Fred.
Yeah.
It's not close.
Really? Golf, huh?
Fred's good, yeah.
All right. So two more. Who would you say is a pickier eater?
Oh, that's easy. Fred's much pickier.
Yeah. Okay. And who had the better halftime speeches?
Very different styles, man. You asked what I took from each of them. Nate's definitely he's definitely a rah, fire him up, whereas Fred's very even keel, very cerebral, thinking about, what we need to do next, to win the game. So again, man, Fred always had a really good speech when we were in big games, though, too. He always had when we played Kansas, his always had like I said, he didn't get emotional a whole lot, but he always had a little extra pop for the big games. But Nate was, he's all the time. Don't matter who you're playing, shoot. We've got into probably our biggest fight, during a scout, when we're trying to talk about how to beat a team, was getting ready for Liberty. So that tells you how Nate runs.
I mean, Richie McKay is a damn good coach.
He's a heck of a coach, and they had Darius McGee, but we were kind of arguing about what to do. And I remember Nate kind of stormed out of the office, and he said, "It better work."
Did it work?
So it worked. Yeah, we handled them, but we had really good players.
Yeah. All right, so we do this thing called the shot clock. We're going to slide into some more fun here. Sam usually introduces. It's just, just simple answers. They can be one word if you got a story, or more. Obviously, can be more than one word. But just light and fun. We'll kind of end up on this. So, all right. So, what is the best coaching advice you've ever been given?
Man, great. Oof. Oh, that's I guess I've never thought about it. And at this point, you probably point to so many different, different things. But I remember, in year one, we played Michigan State, and they were coming off a loss, man, and we got our butts whooped. They lost to Arizona over Thanksgiving break, and I was home watching the game, rooting for them. So I was like, man, I really don't want to play these guys coming off a loss. But we went there, and they handled us coming off a loss. We obviously weren't very good in year one, and definitely not ready for that game. But Coach Izzo checked in on me a little bit, in those couple weeks afterwards. Like I said, we started 0-12, so it was a rough couple months. But He said something at the end of the conversation when we were talking about, the type of guys, you need in your program. And he said, if you're coaching guys that you don't, again, you got to find guys that you like to coach and you respect. Because if you're coaching, guys that you don't respect the type of people they are, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You said you're going to be miserable.
Yep.
So that really stuck with me. And, again, we had good dudes. It was more just overall philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, you got to find guys you connect with. I love basketball. So I got to find guys I connect with that really love basketball in order to make the experience worthwhile for everybody.
Yep. All right. What's the biggest misconception of Sun Belt Conference basketball?
Great coaches in the Sun Belt. I would say that's a huge, misconception. I didn't have it because we played South Alabama and we played Louisiana at Alabama. And like I said, we were always nervous for those games. But, for whatever reason, and I think the SEC, maybe even a little bit a while ago, had some of that attitude, like athletic leagues and not leagues that aren't overcoached or anything like that. I mean, shoot, I go down, we played JMU already. I mean, Preston does an unbelievable job. Dustin,
he's terrible at technology. Preston is.
That's funny. I mean, I could go on and on about the coaches I go against in this league. Scott Cross. I mean, it's just really good coaches. And I think people that don't know that, I think if you're in, night out like I am, you'd be blown away by just, how good everybody coaches their team and different challenges they present.
Yeah, I would agree. Who fouls the most on your team?
That's a good. Oh man, we've gotten a little better. We've been bad, really bad fouling my first 2 years. I would have been easy to name one on those teams, but on this year, who fouls the most? Probably Nicavian White. No,
2.9 fouls a game.
Yeah, he doesn't play a ton of minutes though.
So he's effective. He's effective in a short period.
For sure. And sometimes, he's a bigger guy. He comes across and tries to fix things that go wrong. So they're not all on him, but I would say he's probably found his way in foul trouble more than most.
I'm going to watch hopefully on ESPN Plus, or if you're on the U or anything like that. I want to watch a couple games and see if he's like, oh, I didn't foul. I love those types of players.
No, he's more like somebody will get beat. He'll come across and foul, and he'll just look at me and he's like, you keep telling me to come help, but I'm getting sick of this.
Yeah. I love it though. It's good. Which team in the Sun Belt gets called for the most fouls?
It would have been us the first 2 years. Thank God it's not us anymore. But, oh man, I'm really kind of the ones, the teams we played are kind of the ones I'm leaning towards right now.
Yeah, this makes sense though when you really think about it. It's going to change in the next couple of years as the longer he stays there, but he came from a system that's overly aggressive in defense.
I appreciate it. All right, so Quanis. All right, we haven't played him yet, but you just gave me the answer.
20.6, the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana. You guys are fifth with 19.6. I'm going to pose the question, who do the officials like the most, or which team gets fouled the least in the Sun Belt?
Oh, I would have thought last year I would have said Preston at JMU got a pretty good whistle, but they're high in fouls this year. So Richie's teams don't ever get called for fouls. So I'm going to just start politicking now for Saturday and say that South Al just gets a crazy whistle.
You are correct. I think it's 11.4 fouls called per game.
And if you're getting less fouls than Dustin's team at App, then it ain't fair. So
Yep. Just have that in your back pocket. So give me your funniest recruiting story. Got two more questions. Here's one of them. Funniest recruiting story.
Man, we have a guy here now, Alden Applewhite. There's
from Murray State, man. Playing some ball, 12.9, 6.2 rebounds per game. Yeah.
Murray State. And he was Memphis kid. He had a pretty good name coming up. And right when I got to Bama, obviously I went and watched him recruit him a little bit, and he ended up at Mississippi State out of high school. And like I said, we tracked him more than anything, but he gets in the portal, and you think that you make strong impressions on these guys and all that in the recruiting process, but it was like starting over from scratch. You know what I'm saying? You're just reintroducing yourself, and you're like, you remember, I watched you a couple times at Alabama, and he's like, yeah. Not really, no, not at all. So that one makes me laugh. I mean, some of these now are just like spud. I mean, we got him here like the clock was like ticking right before it goes dead, and he's 2 hours up the road. So we send somebody to pick him up, bring him down, do like a day official visit because we're so nervous. We knew he was a good player, and we're like, man, if around Final Four, there's about 10 days off for a dead period. If we don't get it done before then, teams are going to take a little bit deeper dive into this portal, and we're going to have to beat out 2 or 3 schools that aren't even recruiting him right now. So like, we got to get him here today and try to get him done. So recruiting's fun. I enjoy it. Yep.
Give me the last question. The song that best describes you.
Oh man. I guess I'll go to my son. My son, Nash. I got 3. So I got Nash, who's 5. Dixie Grace is 2, turning 3 in February. Then my third, my Statesboro surprise baby's Trey. He's 1. But Nash, we like to play some songs before we go to bed, and we kind of
Notorious B.I.G. Juicy, maybe.
We keep them a little more simple than that. We go with Neil Young, Old Man, quite a bit.
Okay.
When we're putting him to bed. We do Cats in the Cradle, but I try to lean into that father-son stuff. And then for my daughter, we do, Taylor Swift, Actually Romantic. She likes that one. And then I'll play her Post Malone, Yours, but she doesn't like it. She wants it turned off. So those are kind of my rotation for when I'm putting the kids to bed.
Okay, so all those songs kind of put all together best describe you. So you didn't win nothing, you didn't get nothing. You probably just scratching your head in your mind that what the hell am I doing here? But last question we got for you at the end of the show. What can the Eagle faithful, the Georgia Southern faithful, the boosters, the fans, can expect the rest of the year? What can they expect from you guys this year? The rest of the year,
we're gonna keep pushing, man. We've gotten off to a good start, but shoot, I saw. One of my buddies at Nebraska, Nate Linzer, does an unbelievable job for Fred. He just was quoted as saying, we signed up for a marathon, not a 10K. So we're going to keep pushing. We got a lot of work to do. We're playing well right now in January, but that don't mean a whole lot. It's good. You'd rather have that than not playing well, but we got a lot of work to do. So, I'd say to Eagle Nation, you got a staff and a group of guys that are going to push it and try to get every last thing we can out of it. And just, obviously we just need them to get behind us.
Yes. Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer. You're halfway through the season. You guys are on fire. Coach, you're going to stick with us one more second. Thanks for joining us. Check out the Georgia Southern Eagles. We are big fans of the Sun Belt. We've actually had the Commissioner Gill on the show, who's a Dookie, and some great coaches, Dustin Cairns, Richie Riley, you name it. We've had a whole bunch of others, Preston Sprouling back at Morehead State. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Follow us on all our Twitter handles, Instagram, whatever you want to call it. Don't forget to join us next week on a Full Court Press College Basketball Coaches Show.